Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, this is Joanne Victoria with another amazing podcast from the Sanity Project podcast. Our guest today is Shawngela Pierce. Shawngela is an author, meditation, law of attraction, and spiritual life coach. She has a master's degree in the field of education with over 3 years of postmaster's education in naturopathic medicine. She has also studied the art of yoga and Qigong for over 10 years. Shawngela has a Qigong Meditation DVD, and her latest book titled Healing and the Law of Attraction empowers people to understand their role in the health and healing process. And I'm glad she is here as our guest today. Shawngela is going to talk about what she teaches. She teaches people how to shift to a new way of thinking as it relates to their health. And I invite Shawngela Pierce to the podcast today. How are you doing, Shawngela?
Hello. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show.
I'm grateful that you were here, and I appreciate that J.A. referred you to me. And we go back and forth in giving each other names, and you're one of the 5 that I picked.
Awesome.
Well, you are doing the things that are important to me. New paradigm of thinking as it relates to the whole human being. And also naturopathic medicine. I was responsible, part of my job as a consultant years ago was putting naturopathic medical centers together and alternative healing. So I got exposed to a lot of information. So tell us how you got to this place, Shawngela, about helping others change their paradigm of thinking.
Well, I would just say, like many other people, is because we had to go through the journey ourselves. And for me, it was no different. I was diagnosed with what is considered a chronic disease. And I was basically told that my health would just get worse over time as I aged. And there was nothing I could do except just take the medicine that they gave me, which made me sick. And, and just deal with it. And that just did not resonate with me at all. First, I don't like people telling me what to do. And so,
welcome. That's number 1 on my list.
Exactly. So I'm like, what? What do you mean? Are you kidding me? And then to tell me that, my body couldn't heal it didn't resonate with me. And at the time, I didn't know it was because I had such a strong connection to my source, my spiritual guides. But I just knew that I could. I didn't know how, but I just knew I could. And so I basically, I stepped out of that paradigm. I'm saying, well, I'm going to find, my path to healing. And I did. And I searched and I found my path. And that was in naturopathic medical school, actually, where I saw a teacher and who was obviously a naturopath. And, and then my ailment was dramatically improved. However, the next shift came when I learned about the law of attraction. Because I knew there was a piece that was missing, because I knew that had I gone to another naturopath, I would have gotten a different remedy and all this. And I really just wondered, like, if you believe in God or a higher source, would God make it this complicated for us to heal?
Right.
It just didn't seem, right. I'm like, wow, this is just like way too complicated. And so I was asking, and I was led to the law of attraction. And that really opened the door for me. It totally resonated with me. It was everything that I had believed as a child, but had really gotten off of it because, everyone else is always steering you in the normal way of thinking about health. And so that really brought me home. And at that point, I decided to leave naturopathic medical school and follow my true yearning that was from within, and to teach others, what I had learned.
Well, I have my own issues with medical people making a determination about me, and they don't know who I am.
Exactly.
And go ahead.
Yeah, they put you in a box. They're like,
well, it's so much easier for them because that the appointments to see any kind of a practitioner is, it's except for, body work, but, you're down to 8-10 minutes, if that much.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see a doctor a few weeks ago, had some tests, and the woman who was giving me the tests, she did all the work. And I'm not saying that he didn't do any work, but he was in the hallway reading my file for about 1 minute, came in for about 2 minutes, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can't ask a serious question in that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me also that my issue would never change. And I was like, don't tell me that.
Exactly.
I didn't say that to him because I just didn't do that. But it was like, you can't make a decision about me and my spirit and my energy by giving me, a rubber stamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they do because they don't know any better. And, I always say, a physician has a practice and they're still practicing. So,
yeah, they definitely have a different way of thinking, and, that's fine for their level of consciousness. But my goal was to raise my level of consciousness to the next level and teach other people that they can do the same.
So how do you do that?
How do I do that? Well, of course, law of attraction is the foundation of the teachings that I do. And a part of that is learning how to get in contact with your source, because we're all spiritual beings in a physical body. And we all had that innate connection to the non-physical. And that non-physical has been guiding us since we've been young, but most of us don't know it or don't understand it. And if we can listen to that voice within, then we can be guided to whatever it is that we need for our own health and healing. So that's really basically the core of what we do. And when I say we, I mean, because I work with my source, the teachings come through my source. I allow them to speak through me in order to assist others.
I totally understand. I deal the same way. I always ask the question, even when I get up in the morning, what am I to do today? Regardless of my lists, but what am I to do today? And it's all about what am I to write today? And it's all about love. That's the response that I get. Mm-hmm. So I have to slice that down into acceptable ways of, okay, so it's like, okay, I know you've got one way of thinking, but I have to get it so that others hear you too.
Uh-huh.
So when it says here, you challenge people to start relying on themselves. How do you deal with someone who is resistant? And I mean really resistant. Well, let's not say really resistant, because if they were that resistant, they wouldn't come to you.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have been attracted to you. But if would you label it fear? Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, I would definitely say fear. And you actually answered the question, because I was going to say, well, I wouldn't be working with them.
Right.
I put out that I only want to work with people who are ready for that shift, because, we're not here to try to convince people of the power within themselves to heal. I'm only interested in those who innately know it, but need help in exploring it for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you ready? That's the thing to ask people. Are they ready? I am like you in the regard that if people just want to waste my time, I don't have it to waste, because I just don't. And
exactly.
I just don't. And I've been on this planet long enough to know when people, even though it's difficult for me sometimes, maybe it is for you as well. I'm not going to speak for you, but it's difficult when people are so sad, but they're not willing to make that commitment.
Uh-huh.
They just want what I call the McDonald's response, give me a quickie, that kind of thing, which
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I work on every day. It's actually in my new story where I just see people in a higher light, regardless of whether they're willing to step into that light or not.
Right.
I'm just going to see you at an elevated state of your true potential and just be that. And then, when you're ready, or if ever you're ready, I'm here to help guide you.
I like that. You already see them in that elevated state.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so tell me about the Qigong Meditation DVD.
Qigong? I love Qigong. Qigong it's an ancient Chinese health system, and it's about healing and energy medicine. It involves movement with your breath, and just moving that energy so you can clear blockages and improve your health.
Well, when you say breath, I don't think people understand how important it is to breathe properly and breathe through particular. So talk to our audience about breathing in a way that's healing.
Well, breathing obviously is essential for life.
Right.
What most people don't realize is that when things are when they're stressed, when their thoughts are very chaotic, that they're holding their breath. And so you're not moving the energy through your body, and you need that energy to flow in a free flowing fashion in order to be healthy. And so just breathing, just learning to be mindful, first of all, of your breath. So you know that when you're not breathing. And I would just say, take 5-10 minutes a day or something, and just really be conscious of your breath and really allow that energy to flow through you, taking deep breaths, pausing in between the breaths. That in itself will help to improve, everyone's health, no matter who you are and what stage of evolution you are. Just doing that simple exercise can bring a lot of healing to you.
My perspective on all of this, not just what you're saying, but, the energy level and the higher source or the source, is that we have everything within us.
Yes, we do.
To heal ourselves, to move ourselves forward, to do anything we want. Except, of course, I can't be a 6-foot blonde without some help. But we can do, everything is within us. The breathing, which is basic but also necessary, is one of those things. Give us something else that people have within them that they can, and I know you talk about intuition here somewhere, and getting people to trust themselves, trust their mind, trust their heart, trust their soul, trust their breathing, trust their source, trust the powers that be is what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, give some insights to people on how they can do that and how important it is to trust yourself.
Well, I start with something simple. I get people to re-engage with their source, and so they develop a sort of communication that they have. And so one simple way is just every day, ask your source for an inspirational message. So in that way, you start, really learning that, oh, wow, there is something out there that's really communicating to me, right? And then I ask people to develop a communication by asking a more intimate question and then waiting for a response. So again, you're building that rapport. You're developing a relationship where you can start relying on your source. And I also teach people about the innate communication that you have with your source via feelings, because that's a major intimate way in which your source communicates with you. So like if you're what it basically boils down to, it's like your thoughts are negative and are not something that serve you, you feel bad, you know. So, and that translates to your energy is being blocked, right? Um, and you're not allowing your full connection to source in that essence. But when your thoughts are good, right, then you feel good, you know, it's like you open up. You open up your energy channels and you allow the energy to flow. And thereby you allow your connection to source and you allow health to ensue.
Okay, listeners, I'm going to ask you to repeat listening to this podcast because I don't want you to miss a thing, because Shawngela Pierce has got the right message, and that's why she's here today, because she and I are aligned in our observation of people. We help people maybe in different ways, but basically I try to take people back to their source as well, just in different context.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's why there's so many teachers out there, because we're going to resonate with different people. How you explain it obviously resonates with people that are attracted to you, and then how I explain it obviously resonates with the people who are attracted to me. But
Correct.
the message is the same. You know, the seek within you. The message is all within you. You know, it's really about you tapping in and allowing that to blossom, so that you and yourself can also become an inspiration to others. Each one teach one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So seek within you. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes, ma'am.
Seek within you. Seek within yourself. Shawngela has social media links in Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, all under Seek Within You. And then on LinkedIn, it's Shawngela, single word, not her last name. And talk to me about your book, Healing and the Law of Attraction.
Well, Healing and the Law of Attraction is just really a basic guideline on how you can heal your body. Using the principles of the law of attraction, you can call it that, but that's just what we call it now in this day and age. But it's been called many things throughout the millennia. You know, it's really about, we live in a creative universe, and so understanding that and using those principles to, you know, tap into your source and to heal yourself. So the first is broken up into 5 sections. The first section, we talk about the law of attraction, so you can really understand the concept in the way that we explain it. And then the second section is how disharmony is created, so that people understand how they have been unconsciously creating disharmony or dis-ease, because no one's going to consciously do it, right?
Right.
And then the third section is on spiritual guidance, you know, information about your source and how you're connected to your source, and how to use that connection to heal yourself, to be guided to whatever you need to heal. And the fourth section is on ways to raise your vibrational level to health. And the fifth section is the question and answer section, where we address some law of attraction questions, some health questions, and just different aspects, so people can kind of relate to it and how it applies to their life.
So what would you say is the most popular question that people ask you?
Oh, well, how did I get this disease? You know, how did I attract this into my life? It's not like I was thinking about it.
Right.
It's just, you know, what's this all about? That kind of deal. And that is very, I'm laughing, but it's a very hard concept for many people to come to terms with, you know, because obviously you wouldn't consciously create a disharmony. I didn't consciously create it, but I can look back on my life and my childhood and realize, wow, yeah, I did. I was in a low vibratory state for a very long time, and it manifested itself in this disease for me. And it wasn't until, you know, that light bulb went off that I was like, wow, I need to change what I'm doing to improve my health.
There's always something that gets our attention, isn't it? Isn't there?
Exactly. Because you kind of just almost just go through life like everyone else, right? You're not really seeking much unless you're in a state of disharmony, unless you're, you know, in dire needs. Because if you feel like, let's say you're a middle class person, or, you know, I have a job, I graduated from college, you know, things are okay, you know. It may not, you have your ups and downs, but you're not really necessarily pursuing enlightenment or anything like that. That usually doesn't come until, for most people, and unless they're in a state of dire need or distress or disharmony in the body.
Yes, there are not that many people that pursue enlightenment. That is a correct and profound statement, because I think if more people got on that path of consciousness, it would shock them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
As to the benefits, health-wise, physical, mental, and spiritual health would all change.
Yeah, because we're stuck on the paradigm of, how our health should be. And so we think we're doing okay, because you see it all the time on the commercials. Like, things are normal. You have, I have a tummy ache. I have, a runny nose. I have allergies. All these things that we just think are just normal for us to have as health.
Right.
And so we really don't address those early signs until it gets to a point where you have this like really horrible full-blown disease.
I spoke to someone, a friend of mine in San Diego the other day or a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember, and she talks about her son who has some health issues, and he likes surgery. And she cannot get him off that track of whatever it might be, just bad, cut it out.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's phenomenal for me to hear that people, they get in these grooves or crevices of thinking that something outside of myself is not only going to help me, but if somebody has the talent to cut me open and remove the bad thing, not realizing, of course, that whatever they're removing is just going to be replaced someplace else in their body until they get their heads out of their butts. It doesn't work that way. Doctors don't know even, the Western doctors obviously do not know that much about spirituality and consciousness. And the Eastern approach, you have to source it. You have to, as you did with your first teacher, you have to want something different than what you have now. Enough.
Exactly.
Enough. You have to want it badly enough.
Mm-hmm.
So what types of clients do you attract, Shawngela?
Oh, I attract those who are in physical and emotional need. I do attract a lot who want to eventually be teachers themselves and are just at that stage where they don't know how to get from here to there. I attract a lot of those. I also attract those who are in physical need, who have ailments and want to overcome it, because, not the traditional way,
right,
of going to the doctor, and not necessarily, I guess, the traditional alternative ways, but they're looking for something different because they're not truly getting healed. And so a piece of the puzzle is being left out, because even in the non-traditional ways, alternative ways, there's a lot of focus just on the food, but not so much the mind, the mental aspect of it, the thought processes. That, in many respects, that part is missing in our healing regimens.
Yeah, as you say, the society resorts to the traditional possibilities of change, including our diet and stuff like that. And that's good, but not the right thing, because even if you, for example, I like to refer people to good acupuncturists, because acupuncture has always worked for me. Well, once they get over the thing of needles, which don't hurt, if they're not aligned with their source when they go get these treatments, they're not going to heal any faster.
Exactly.
If they, then if they just use the Band-Aid or kick the dog or something, it's not going to really help unless you put your mind into a different zone.
Exactly. Yep. I concur. So yeah, we are definitely deficient in our addressing of the thought processes and our alignment when we're dealing with health.
Well, people claim they're too busy to do it any other way.
Yeah. Well, those aren't my people.
Yeah,
Those
I
are really
I concur. I can tell by your website. You're free and open and loving. Um, okay, what more can we tell our audience? But first, I'm going to tell our audience before we get to the end of this is that yes, re-listen to this podcast. Shawngela Pierce has great information for you, and I try to provide the best information to my listeners as possible. You will get similar but not the same information from several of my other guests, but you listeners need it coming from different directions, knowing that there are a lot of people out there who have a similar message, and it's all about helping you become a better person, you, the listener. So re-listen to this podcast, pass it on to your personal partner, take it to work, download it on somebody else's phone, whatever you need to do. And then go to iTunes.com and you'll be able to get there through my website page, which Shawngelas podcast will be placed there among other places. And give Shawngela Pierce a 5-star review. Give her good words because this will help, law of attraction. This will make good for you, as good for Shawngela, and maybe a little good for myself as well. So, Shawngela, give me 1 or 2 tips, and I hate to, tips seems such like an insignificant word, but it's not. We can say strategies, we can say whatever, but what 2 strategies can the listeners use right now to help themselves make this paradigm shift, certainly as it relates to their health?
I would say 1, meditate daily. Even 5 minutes a day is perfectly okay, because that's going to get you more deeply connected to your source. Okay, start with 5 minutes, and you'll just start automatically wanting to do it longer over time, because you will notice a change when you don't do it.
Right.
That, and number 2 would just start the conversation with your source. Ask your source to guide you to what you need to improve your health. And wait for an answer, be patient, and write it down. If you don't have a spiritual journal, get one. Write down your responses there. If you're questioning whether the response came from your source, ask them, to clarify for you. And then in that sense, you just really start building that conversation. It's not a one-way conversation. It's a two-way conversation.
Yes.
With your source in the healing process.
I would also suggest for newbies to date their pages so that when they move forward, they can see how much easier it gets to receive a response from source.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah, it's something I've always done in any aspect of any business that I was coaching or consulting in. Yeah. When did that happen? How has it changed since that time?
Yes.
So where is the best place for listeners to find you, Shawngela?
You can find me on my website, seekwithinyou.com. That's SEEKWITHINYOU.com. That's the best place to find you.
Okay. And just in case people want to get to you sooner than that, they can email you at meditation@seekwithinyou.com.
Yes, ma'am. And I do have a law of attraction workshop coming up in about a month in Sedona, Arizona, for anyone who's interested in coming to that. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to really implement what we teach about improving your health and well-being.
Well, there you go, people. There's a workshop in Sedona, Arizona. There's only one Sedona that I'm aware of about meditation. And don't forget, the title of her book is called Healing and the Law of Attraction. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and I'm sure it's somewhere on her website. I want to thank Shawngela Pierce for being here today. Her topic of information is something I'm totally aligned with, and I think people who have listened to all of my or most of my podcasts will see that. And I thank you very much for being here, Shawngela, and I wish you a happy day.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.